Today, we're going to kind of go a little crazy with something that's not earrings, but it's an ear accessory. You ready to go? Let's make some jewelry. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. I'm the WrapMaker, Jim McIntosh. Now, I'm always looking for some very interesting projects to do. And I'm looking for something new all the time. And today, that's what we're going to do. Today, we're going to explore not earrings, but something for your ear. I don't even know what to call it because I've seen it as ear cuffs, but it's not, to me, doesn't seem like an ear cuff. It kind of goes around the ear as opposed to across the side of your ear, which to me is an ear cuff. But we're going to do two different projects that way. We're going to first do a basic one, just so you understand how the wire works, how it fits around your ear. And in the second one, we're going to make elf ears. And I'm just going to do the basics. We're just going to do a basic elf ear. But as we're doing the project, I want you to think about ways that you could make changes, where you could add additional wire, where you could put beads in. There's lots of opportunities for that. There's opportunities for different shapes. You don't have to make an elf ear. You can make something just slightly different that's going to look good. This is a project that I'm sure going to appeal to a lot of people, especially if you do festivals and shows. Now, I first saw these at a Renaissance festival, and I thought they were just so really cool and interesting and different. And so we're going to explore different today, all right? Now, just a reminder, make sure you pick up a copy of my new book, Wire Wrapping, Simple Techniques for Beautiful Designs. This is a great book for everybody. If you're new at doing this, and if you've been doing it for years, there's something in here for everybody. So make sure you pick a copy of it up. You can pick it up in a hard copy like this one, or you can pick up an ebook. You can download it and have instant access to some beautiful projects that you can make yourself, all right? So there's a link down below in the description. Check that out on our website, all right? Now, let's take a look at the tools, and we'll take a look at the materials that we're going to need for this project. These are all of the tools we're going to need for this project. Now, we're going to need to measure our wire out. So we're going to need a good ruler. We'll have to cut our wire from the spool, so you'll need a pair of flush cutters or some wire cutters. You'll also need painter's tape and scissors to cut your painter's tape with. You know how I am about my tape. Now, I'm going to introduce you to a new tool that we're carrying on our website, and these are nylon jaw pliers, and people use to straighten out their wire. Now, we're going to be using a heavier gauge wire, and you're going to want to use something that's going to be able to straighten that wire out for you, and that's what these are. So, brand new tool on our website. Make sure you go check it out. They're nylon jaw pliers, all right? Now, we're also going to be making a lot of loops, curls, and different ways of moving the wire around. So we're going to need tools that have those round surfaces. And I've got three of them that we're going to use. We're going to use round nose pliers to make some of those smaller loops. I've also got my bail making pliers. These are 6-step bail making pliers. They're also nice and round, give you some nice round shapes. And we've also got our wrap and tap pliers. These are also great to make larger bends and curves and curls. So these are the three tools we're going to use to make those various curves. And of course, we're going to be wire wrapping, so we need our WrapMaker pliers. Make sure you pick these up. These things are a wonderful tool to have to be able to make wire wrapping so much easier. So pick some of these up. And these come in two different handles. I just happen to have these because they're longer handles. They fit better in my hand, but you may have smaller hands and want something a little smaller. So I've also got ergonomic handles for these. Either one of them works exactly the same. The difference is the comfort of how it fits in your hand. Okay? So WrapMaker pliers, and that should be all the tools we need. We're only going to need 2 things for this project today. We're going to need 18 gauge round wire. I know it's round wire. I don't ever use round wire, but this is another one of those projects where it's going to be fitting so close up to the person that you're going to want a nice, comfortable fit, and round wire's going to do it. So don't fuss with me about it. I know I always use square wire, but today we're going to be using 18 gauge round, okay? So this is going to be great. The other thing we're going to need is we're going to need 18 gauge half round wire, and that's going to make up all of the areas that we're going to be wrapping. And that's it. That's all of the materials that we're going to need for this project. Let's go ahead and start the project. All right, so we're going to do this 2 different ways. Now, first project we're going to do is going to kind of show you just the mechanics of how to make this. Now, this is an actual project that you can make it and use and wear and sell to people, but it's a very, very simplified ear cuff. Very simplified. But this will help you understand the mechanics of what we're doing. I've also got some ears. I picked these up off of, where else? Amazon. But these are the medium-sized ears. I've left a link down below where you can pick some of these up. They work really great for just making the shapes and checking to see how things are. You can use somebody's actual ear if you want. That's up to you. If you can get them to sit still long enough and use their ear for it. But that's entirely up to you. But I prefer this. So and something else about this project is I'm only going to show you how to make one of these ear cups. To understand how the ear cups work, we're just, because of the sake of time, just going to make one. But whatever you do, make sure you do it for the second ear. So you'll have to kind of piece by piece make it, but you're going to make it opposite. So if we're going to be making a right ear, you're going to want to make all your curves also for a left ear as well. Hopefully that makes sense. But that's my ear for today. All right. So we cut a piece of 8-inch wire, and you'll notice it's kind of a bumpy and kind of out of shape. So I'm going to use these nylon jaw pliers. I'm just going to straighten this wire up. And the reason why I'm using these is because this is a heavier gauge wire. It is dead soft wire, but it's dead soft, 18 gauge dead soft round wire. And it gets kind of, it can really kind of hurt your fingers because it is a larger gauge. Anytime I'm using something larger like 16 gauge, 18 gauge, 14 gauge, I like to use these little nylon jaw pliers to be able to straighten it out and get some of my kinks out. So we've done that. I want it relatively straight. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight, but we've got most of the bumps and the kinks out. Very good. Now, the way this works is we're going to make something that goes around the back of the ear and comes to the front of the ear. Very simple. We're going to start at the bottom, and I'm going to start with my wrap and tap pliers, and I want to start about 2 inches from the end. And all I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a big curve. I'm going to wrap this around, and we can fix this a little bit as we go. What we're doing is we're now starting here on the front of the ear. So you want to kind of conform it to the front of the ear. And I'm going to bring this curve in just a little bit. Again, 18 gauge, dead soft, works really easily in your fingers. But we're just going to make a basic shape to go around the earlobe. Now, we want to bring the back of it so that it goes down. So notice I'm going to show you this side view. See how it kind of spirals. And that's what you want because we want it to go behind the ear. Just like that. And then now I'm going to just make just a gentle curve. So use my fingertips. You can use the pliers as well, but I just want to put a curve in here. And this is going to conform to the ear. We want to continue doing that. Now up here, here I'm going to make an even harder curve because now I want to go to the front of the ear. So I'm going to go just like this. We're going to kind of manage this, move this around a little bit. We just want to get our basic shape. So we're going to keep curving it around to get that basic shape. Okay. So now we've got our basic ear shape for the back of the ear. I'm going to bring it in because what we want to do is we want this to fit kind of snugly behind the ear, but also be comfortable for the person wearing it. So notice where I've got this part here. Got this so that it comes around the ear, comes up to the front, and we're going to do kind of the same thing we did down here. So we're going to take this off. I'm going to use our wrap and taps. I've got to hold them the right way. Hold on a second. And we're going to make just another curve in this. Not a big curve that we put in it, but let's kind of refine our shape. Make this nice and round. And then we're going to bring it up. So notice, show you the profile. So it's top of the ear, bottom of the ear, and then this here is the back of the ear. And I want to just refine our shape just a little bit. You can use some of your tools to do that. We can use these wrap and taps, kind of bring that around. And then I want to show you this. You start at the top of the ear. You bring it around to the back. Oops, hold on. That's going to give this shape better. And here. So we're going to come to the top. We're going to start at the top. We're going to bring it around. And then we're going to just kind of snap it into place on the ear. That's a basic shape. Now look at all of this extra wire we have. What can we do with that? There's tons and tons. The only thing that's going to limit what you can do with this, of course, obviously, is your imagination. So I want you to think about maybe putting a bead on it here and then curving this around, or doing the same down here, putting a nice bead or several beads on here. Whatever you do, make sure you keep this general shape, and because this is going to hold everything together. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take, and I'm going to use my bail making pliers, these step bail pliers, 6-step pliers. I'm going to get to the bigger barrel on here. I'm just going to bring this around again. Make a nice tight curl. Take these out. And again, have a look at it, refine some of this shape. And let's put it on the ear and see what we've got here. Right quick. Go on. All right. So we've got this shape here. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take, and I'm just going to trim it right there. You want to make sure that the wire doesn't go into the person's ear. Thank goodness this is a fake ear, huh? And I'm going to do something similar to the bottom. I'm going to refine that shape at the bottom as well. So I'm going to take these pliers and just going to make this a nice tight curl. Okay. And we're going to trim it off. Now these ends, what I want you to think about is perhaps using a file and file these smooth so they don't hurt anybody. So we'll put it on the top, come around to the bottom, and there. That's our finished piece. Now, since we're using dead soft wire, these things are great to custom fit to a person while they're at your booth. They love stuff like this. Customers love it. You can do something custom for them right on the spot. So think about doing that as well. Having a basic shape, letting them know that you can custom fit this to them, and then going ahead and doing it, manipulating the wire for them so it's a nice fit. So now that you understand the basics, the top and the bottom of the ear, let's take this and we're going to kind of supersize it. And we're going to make a pair of elf ears. This is a really neat part of the project. All right, so I've cut another piece of wire and I got my ear. Hello. Hello. Another stupid joke for you. And I'm going to straighten this wire out like I've been doing. So I've got my nylon jaw pliers and we're just going to just pull it through here and just get the kinks and the bends and everything out of it. And this is 12 inches of wire, the round wire. Ooh. And let's get the other side. There we go. Got a really weird kink right there. Really strange bend in this. Let's kind of get that out. We might be able to work with that. There we go. Sometimes this wire comes to you and it's kind of weird. Weirdly kinked and things, but we, since it's soft wire, we can work with that. All right. So we've got it relatively straight. And we're going to do basically start this the same way that we did that first project. We're going to start down here at the bottom, and we're going to start about 2 inches from the end of the wire. And I've got my wrap and taps out here. I'm going to use this big barrel at the bottom of it to start this first part. So I've just curved it around there. I'll take this off here. I'll try to get it off the wrong side. And I'm going to bend it up. Remember, we bent this so that it would go here around the ear. And we'll refine our shape a little bit. And make sure it fits as we go. There we go. And now we're just going to start bending the back part. So just use your fingertips, or you can use wrap and tap pliers to kind of add a little curve to it as you go. So you notice just kind of adding that little bend. Keep checking it. Make sure it's right and it's snug. See, look at the fit behind the ear. See, I want this to kind of conform slightly to the back of the ear. So you just want it, since you don't know how everybody's ear is shaped, you just want a general fit for it. You can make those adjustments in person, or they can make the adjustments also on themselves as they're wearing it. So we've come to the other side of the ear. We're at the top part of the ear. Now, in the first one we did, we just brought this around and made kind of this little curl at the top of the ear. This one, we're going to do something slightly different. We want to make an actual elf ear. So I've got my basic shape here, and I want to kind of remember where I'm at on here. So I want to bring this all the way here to this tip of the top tip of the ear right here. And this is where we're going to kind of change. I should have held my finger there, shouldn't I? I should have remembered where I did this. Let's put this back on. Okay, so right there is where we want, right here. We're going to take round nose pliers. And right here where I want to make that bend, I want to make a bend, but I'm going to make a bend toward me. So I've got the piece. I'm going to make it toward me and around the biggest part of these round nose pliers. What that's going to do is it's going to make this little hook right here at the top of the ear. So remember, we instead of making that curl that came up, we just made this hook that came away from it, and now we are in the position to be able to create an elf ear. An elf ears are pointed, and they've got a point on them, and we're going to kind of take a look and see how long of a point we want, how long this part of the ear would be. And we can make a really exaggerated one and kind of bring it up to right about in here. It's up to you where you want to put this. I'm thinking I'm going to make kind of a long elf ear, so I'm going to do it right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off again. I'm going to try and take it off. There we go. And I kind of figured out this is where I want it. Now, I want this, and you want it at least, I'm trying to figure out how to say this. You want this so that it's out here someplace. So that it comes across the ear up here and then comes back down. The reason being is you want some of that weight in the back. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to use my round nose pliers, and I'm going to just shape this ear. And I want it kind of sharp, but not too sharp. Okay, something like that. And then I'm going to pull it away. Now, there's one interesting thing about all the elf ears I've ever seen somebody make is they kind of pull away like this, and then they come back in a curve. And you want the elf ear to finish along this ridge of the ear right here, and you want it to come down to here. So you're going to bend all of this back in. You're going to shape this ear. You're going to shape the ear on the ear is what you're going to do. See, so there, look at the shape that I'm getting. Let's kind of make this so that you're going to want to make it so that the profile is really good as well. But notice what I'm doing here is I'm making just some minor adjustments to this so that it comes this way on the ear. And I'm going to want to fix some of this up here. I think I want more of a pointed ear. This is not as pointed as I want it. So I'm going to use my WrapMakers. I'm going to add some of this, and then I'm going to just flatten some of this just to make it just a little pointier. Just going to take it little by little. Again, this is art. This is art, making something fun and nice. And there we go. So I think that's kind of where I want to be with that elf ear. The next thing we want to do is we want to add another wire, and we want to add it right here so that it kind of follows this around. And we're going to cut another piece of wire. I'm going to make it probably about 5 inches long. So let me cut a piece of wire right now. So I've cut another wire, and I've straightened it out. I've taken and I've used these nylon jaw pliers, and I've kind of got it relatively straight, got all my little kinks and creases out of it pretty well. Now, as I said, we want to kind of bring this around the ear right here. So I'm going to start, this is what, let's get a measurement here. Let's see, this is about 1.5 inches from the end is where I'm going to do this. Now, what I want to do is I want to take this off here, and I'm going to line this up right here with the ear, and I'm going to do this on the inside. I'm going to take a piece of painter's tape, and I'm going to, I had it on the inside. Just want to make sure I had it on the right spot. I'm going to tape this together. I'm going to tape these two pieces, these two parts together right here. And I want to add right here below the tape, notice it's about maybe 1 inch in. I want to put a wrap there. So I'm going to get my 18 gauge half round wire, and I'm going to place a wrap right there. So I've cut kind of a short piece of wrap wire. It's about 3 inches. And I want to make my wrap right here. This is where I want to start it. So I'm going to kind of come from the back on this, because what we need to do is we need to kind of bend it into the center of this right here and bring it around. And that can be kind of troublesome, but if we take our time, we can do this. Trust me. So I'm going to put my WrapMakers where I want to start it. I'm going to take my wrap wire, and I'm going to come in from the back, and I'm going to insert it in between the jaws until it bottoms out. So I may need to kind of just there, put that pressure on the handles and now bring it around. And you want to make a loop, not a loop, but a curve, so you can curl it back into that opening and make a second. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to bend it so that it goes into the center. And be careful when you do this that you don't flip the wire. Sometimes you can flip this wrap wire and it will twist, and then you end up with this really strange twist in the wire. So that's 3. I'm going to make 5. So that's 3. This is number 4. We're going to make 1 more, and we want to finish this on the back. So there is number 5. And I want to take this wire that I started with, and I want to bring it to the back as well. Now, before I set this, I want to kind of determine where I want to have that at. So I'm going to kind of put it not on the ear, but I'm going to kind of just compare where it's going to be. And I think right where it's at right now is where I'm going to want this wrap. So I'm going to set the wrap right there. And you want to give this a really good set. Since we are using round wire and half round wire together, you want this to be set really well. So set those wires by giving them a good squeeze so that nothing moves out of place. And then you trim off all of this excess wire. We always trim our wire half the width of the area that we've wrapped. To this other side right quick. There we go. And then we want to make sure this doesn't hurt anybody, so we're going to push these down against the wrap. And this is what we have. So what we want to do now is we want to take this tape off, because we need to put a curve here so that it contours the ear. So let's put this back on. Put it back on. I mean, that's the bad thing about this silicone is it's kind of sticky. There we go. But it can be good and it can be bad. So what we want to do is we want to bend this so that it goes around here. This is supposed to be a little higher. There we go. We want to kind of straighten our wires out. We want to bend this so that it comes and makes kind of a design on the ear. So you see what we've got. So I want to kind of open this up a little bit. I want this all to kind of blend back in. So let's put it on there. I want it right about here. So we're going to conform these wires together. So that it does that. That is the look we're looking for right there. So I'm going to put a wrap on here. I'll put it somewhere in here, I think. So let's we're going to grab another piece of tape. So what we want to do is we're going to have another piece of tape. We want to tape these together just to hold them together so that we can wrap them. There, let's double check to make sure. Yeah, I want to put my wrap right here. So then we can manipulate this wire a little bit more after we've wrapped this. So let me cut some more wrap wire. So I've cut another small piece of wrap wire. This is probably about 3 inches long as well. And we're going to wrap this area. We're going to make 5 or 6 wraps here as well. So I want to put it where we want to start our wrap. We will insert the wrap wire until it bottoms out. Put the pressure on there and then push it in to here so that it will wrap around. So there's 1. Here is 2. 3. 4. Take your time when you're doing this. You don't have, this is not a race. You don't have to I want to race through this. This is number 5, and I want to finish this one on the back. And then I'm going to push this one to the back as well. And before I set it, I want to make sure that this is where I want it. So I'm going to kind of compare it to my ear that I already have, and that looks like about the right spot. So let's trim off the excess wire. And trim off this excess wire here. And then we're going to set it in place. Boom. So let's take a look and see what we've got. That's what we've got so far. We're almost done with this project. Now we've got these wire ends that we need to do something with, and that's kind of what we're going to do now. Is we're going to make some shapes and some curls and kind of get everything finalized where we want it. So let's do that right now. So we've got these wire ends that we need to do something with. Now keep in mind, these are a great way to add that extra decoration, that nice decorative flow. I'm going to do something very, very, very basic, and I'm just going to put a curl in them just to show you what you can do with these. But I want you to be thinking how you can change that, push it further, add some beads, add some more curls to it. Just play around with it. And a good way of doing that is to take just a piece of scrap wire and just start bending it and making some bends and curves to kind of give you an idea of what it's going to look like. And then put that into the piece. All right, so the first one we're going to do is we're going to do the top one. So let's take this off. And I want to do this top wire here. So I'm going to pull this away just a little bit so I can get something in there. And we're going to use these 6-step pliers. Just going to start curving it from the end. I just want to make just a nice curl into the center as I get the pliers stuck on here. And I'm going to kind of bring these around even more and make a nice tight curl. Okay, so that's what I've got. And I'm going to, you know what, I'm not even going to trim them off. I kind of like how that looks, how it is. I was going to trim it off, but you know, I think it looks good. I think it looks really good. So I've got that one done. So notice where we are on that. Now remember, you've got all of this space on the ear that you can use. So don't think that you can only do around the outer edge or the bottom of the ear. You've got this whole ear that you can do some work with. So with that in mind, we're going to do this next wire. And this next wire, I'm going to use the other end of this. Now this wire that we wrapped in there, I'm going to kind of pull it away a little bit so I can work with it. And I'm going to make this curl upward very similar to this one, but I want to put it so that it goes towards the center of the ear, just to show you. So let's get our step pliers out. You know what? I'm going to use the wrapping taps just a little bit here to kind of get a nice shape to this. Okay. So we've got some of this. Let's use the next size barrel up there. That gives us some of that shape we're looking for. You see what I'm going for? I'm going to put that curl right here. So let's use these. Use the larger barrel on these. And I'm going to bring this around that barrel, just like that. And then let's see what we want to do with this. Let's kind of put it back on. Put it back on. We'll kind of see where we are. All right. So now we're really coming in shape here. So I want to fix it just a little bit. So let's bend it out. And we're going to bend that in. I'm going to want to trim it. I don't want all that wire on there. So I'm going to trim. See, and the name of the game here is just taking your time and just using the tool to kind of make these gentle bends and curves and play around with it. Be creative with it. Don't be afraid of the wire, but really spend some time understanding the curves and the curls that you can make with this. Just a little bit more. Here we go. All right, so let's put this back on. There we go. So the only thing we have left is this long wire here that makes the outside of the ear. And I've got all these wires kind of curling to the center. I'm going to want to maybe curl this one outward just a little bit. That might maybe put the curl right about in here someplace. So I'm going to take this off, and I want to kind of put that curl right about in there. So I'm going to take my 6 steps pliers here. I'm going to use the larger drum on this, and I'm going to just start making a curl. And then, hold on, I want to see kind of where I'm at. All right. Now I want to tighten up that curl. So we're going to get it by the end here and just kind of start bringing everything in. And let's see how that looks before I trim any wire off. I want to make sure that it looks how I want it. Oops. Let's bend this away slightly. See it where I want that. Let's kind of go up just a little bit with it. I had it right the first time, I think. Let's go back down just a little bit. There we go. So that's kind of how I want that. So I'm going to trim off some of this excess wire. I'm going to trim it off right about here. Always make sure that you take a file to these ends. You just want to kind of blunt them. So just take a little bit of time. This one right here is probably too long. I don't like this one either. So I'm just going to trim just a touch off of the edge of this. And then the last thing we have to do is we have to figure out where we want this wire here. Now, I want it this big, but I think I want to bring that curve just down a little bit, just like that. And then we're going to trim off some of the end of this right about here. So here is what we ended up with. Nice fairy ear, fits the person's ear really well. It has a lot of really nice design to it. And there's so many things you can do with this design. Look at all of this real estate here you have to add beads. You can add things here and here and here. You could hang something here. There's so many things that you can do with this very, very simple design. I told you at the beginning we were going to explore something different, didn't I? And that's what we did. That's such a different project, isn't it? You know, we've been making pendants, and we've made earrings, and we made bracelets, but we haven't made anything at all like this. Play around with this. It's a fun project. Give it a big artistic flair, okay? So I want to thank you for lending me your ear. I had to throw one more in. Today on the show. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this. Tune in every Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time for a premiere of each show. 10 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube for every new show. Everybody gets in there, we chat and have a really nice time. So be sure you stop by. I'm always there. I'm always chatting back and forth, helping people with their design problems, or maybe they have questions about how to do certain things. It's a great place to do it. So stop by, will you please? Well, again, I'm the WrapMaker, Jim McIntosh. Thanks for tuning in this week. And I'm going to say it again. Everybody wants to know how to make good jewelry, beautiful jewelry. Practice, practice, practice.